Harper's.
What's his problem with Harper's?
He's got history with them too.
All right, let's go.
Excuse me. I'm still alive.
Right. What's your favorite book?
Hard to pick just one.
That's the question, right?
Yep.
In terms of historical works, I'd say the Fanged Tome of Lykanthus Szar. That was only the fourth question. Hello? Oh, shit.
Holds the original manuscript copy. I can't tell you right now whether Clan Nightstar still exists in the realms. Because the information I have at hand right now stops at the year 600. Only because the Cormanthier book is what I've got in front of me.
Oh, okay. So what other things did he didn't he have lesser works that he worked on too?
Yeah, none nearly as comprehensive or as interesting as the Fang Tome, which is
Right.
you know, how to hunt down dangerous things and what you can do with them after you've done that. That would be the best succinct description of what is the book about. It's how to kill things that want to eat you.
A section that says Owlbear, don't.
Yeah. Yeah. There's info in there.
Wow.
And how to prepare owlbear eggs, because if you don't cook them just right, ugh, the rancid smell.
In Baldur's Gate 3, I think I actually got a owlbear's egg. In one of the scenes in the first act, it was you had to kill these owlbear, and they were a baby owlbear, and they had they're magically created how they run up there. I have no idea, but I actually collected an egg and sold it. So,
well, according to some, those are good eating, but yeah.
Curry had some great. Curry, are those ideas of chapters?
Well, like I said, it's the book is about how to stay alive, how to hunt, kill, and dispose of predators.
Right.
Now he had, the preparation of eggs and all that. That's an entirely different thing. But
sorry, I'm laughing. Stephen Curry wrote in the chat. Ideas for chapters. Chapter 1, knowing your categories. Or animal tracking through footnotes.
Yeah.
And then Wolverines, and should a werewolf bother shaving?
Werewolf, werewolf, yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Oh,
That's
boy.
awesome.
Yeah. So he does. Yes, the lesser known works of Lykanthus are, well, he was getting embarrassed by the fact that his name was in the title. He didn't like that.
Well, he wrote it, didn't he?
Yeah, but he wasn't necessarily the one that gave it the title. I mean, he agreed that fine, call it the Fang Tome if you want. But the fact that his name became synonymous in the title had to have been something that maybe it happened after he passed on, because he was a kind of modest guy. He didn't want to draw attention to himself.
Well, maybe Kelvin did it when he made his own Fang Tome and he put his name on there, and everybody just thought, oh, okay.
Maybe. So,
I mean, Kelvin started all the rumors about him. I mean, why not?
That's true. Well, he only did 3 books that can be confirmed.
Okay.
So he did the Fang Tome, took the longest because it was the biggest. He was writing that between 347 all the way till 355, which was when it was finally all compiled together as one massive tome.
Mm-hmm.
By 372, he had come out with his next one was Befriending the Beasts. Not nearly as good a title.
No.
But that one was more, again, it looked at a lot of different ways to tame and, tame or raise animals to be friendly.
So it was basically a book on animal husbandry. All of his
More or
books.
less, more or less. I mean, it's one of the few books that you can find in the realms that will give you detailed instructions on how to try and talk down a hostile creature.
Oh,
Not necessarily one that you've raised and that you're trying to make, say, turn into a mount. It's more if you're facing a, a rabid bear, this is exactly what you need to do to get out of that situation alive.
Domesticating the Displacer Beast, Chapter 4.
Yeah, yeah. There's not quite. That's not. Actually, I think that was a one pager. Yeah,
That was a one
yeah.
pager. Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
do not try. Not going to happen. I think the ongoing theory is there's something to do with um, it's not the innate that it's not the animal nature of the displacer beasts. It's the fact that they aren't always in one physical space. The magic that makes them displace, that's what makes them almost impossible to try and tame. You can't.
Right.
You're never going to have a displacer beast mount or anything like that. Yeah.
It'd be cool though, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure, sure. But then so would, you know, having take the tentacles off that thing and turn those into whips or something with all those barbs at the end.
Oh my
That would
God,
be a
yeah.
nasty weapon.
Ooh, are you kidding? It would shave pieces of you right off.
That's a couple of pages in the Fanged Tome. That's if you want to know how to turn that into a whip, yeah, that's in there.
Oh my God, don't that's the way to kill adventurers too.
Huh?
But for the
So
whole, I guess I'm just trying to narrow it down because I think we're finding out that Kelvin was kind of an a-hole sometimes. When
from a
it comes
certain point of view, yes.
point of view, when it would come to who started the rumors about Lykanthus Szar being not what we lycanthrope could be, but it's probably Kelvin, but the magical. He wrote all these magical tomes that he wrote books. I mean, I see notes where it says magical research and experimentation. Did he write anything like that? Not that
No.
you know of. No. Okay. So
Not
who
that
who
I
started those
not that I
rumors?
will say, and since I'm the one who came up with them in the first place, I get to say, no, he didn't.
He's your character, so yeah.
But he was very closed-mouthed about exactly what creature it was that bit off his right foot.
Really? Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know how to know. He didn't tell anybody.
Well, no, he told people, but he just every single person he told it was a different creature. Oh, it was an owl bear. Oh no, it was just a wolf. Oh, oh, it was a
It was a
werewolf that
displacer
took my
beast. It
foot.
was a
You know?
werewolf. That's how he got lycanthropy. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Now he's a
So
werewolf. See, that's where
yeah,
Kelvin came. That's where Kelvin came in. He goes, "Oh, he lost his foot to a werewolf, so now he became a
uh,
werewolf."
no, no. Look at the smooth end. Now, obviously, that was dissolved off by some sort of ochre jelly or something.
Ochre
Yeah,
jelly. He got his foot caught in the gelatinous cube.
yeah. There you go. No, so yes, people came to Myth Drannor for camaraderie, for peace, for brotherhood. It didn't necessarily make them honest all the time. So, and it's like talking to a sailor who's lost his leg and is a peg. Oh, well, yeah, you should have seen the critter that took that leg.
I thought you
There's
were
a
coming out
reason
of a
I hate white whales. Oh, wait, no, that's not
Oh
it.
wait, no wait. I thought you were coming out of a whorehouse and fell down the stairs and got septic.
Yep, tripped, fell in the middens. Oops. Oh well.
Well, it's like the guy they were talking to at the D&D movie when we're talking with Dead, and the guy says he got out of the tub, slipped and fell and broke his neck, and that was it.
Yep, exactly. So like I said, the lesser known books, befriending the beasts is it's animal husbandry. It's how to tame. If you've got a cub or young that you you suddenly have the responsibility of raising or trying to find a way to make these tame.
Right.
That's a lot of information in that book, but it's significantly smaller than the Fang Tome by more than half. It's not nearly as interesting. It hasn't had, in fact, I'm not even sure if it's been in print for 2 centuries or more. But he wrote it in 372, and his last book was somebody must have been feeding him some very fancy and highfalutin titles, because Legacies Defanged was his final book.
Legacies Defanged.
Yes. And that is pretty much a expansion of some of the info from the original Fang Tome, but it's more, this is how you take hides or corpses and what you can get out of them. So this it doesn't deal with too many Underdark things, so this is not the source that would tell you about that little hidden stomach in a roper that hides all the treasure.
The gizzard or whatever it is, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that some people don't think that it's in there. But this would be the book that would tell you, yes, this is the proper way to, if you have a dragon corpse, this is the best way to skin it so you can actually use that skin as armor or take the
scales and turn them into a shield or armor. Yeah, that part. Which fangs are the best to take, or
and it's one of the few books that it doesn't have alchemical uses for it, but it gets close, because it's things like, if you take some, not the front fangs, but like the back grinding molars and whatnot of dragons or certain predators, you grind those up, they are a very effective ingredient for all sorts of things, whether it's spell components or potion ingredients and whatnot. Again, he was a hunter. He was a ranger. He's just more after, by 379, he'd been a one-legged ranger for a good 25 years at that point.
One-legged or one-footed?
Again, sources disagree. We know he lost a foot. Now, where the loss stopped, whether it was at the shin, at the knee, at the hip, who knows?
Man, this is
but mostly it's not a matter of somebody is lying. It's the fact that they didn't, all the people that could tell you for certain, this was 1,200 years ago. They didn't write down all the particulars, and they didn't give you an illustration of Lykanthus Szar. In fact, that's, even though his initial book is very heavily illustrated, there's no picture of him.
Right.
And it's mostly all anatomical pictures of creatures or tracks, very incredibly complicated and detailed pictures of animal tracks and scat and all that junk. But yeah, there is no definitive image of what did Lykanthus Szar look like. Yeah,
there'd be a missing limb.
Stephen, maybe an interesting question could be, as comprehensive as his reference guide would have been, perhaps, and completely hypothesizing here, I'll let you wordsmith this all you want. Perhaps maybe the reputation, albeit falsely, was gained about all of these references to magical tomes and such was simply a credit by the wizards that needed his field guide to reference making a displacer beast whip or a snake-headed whip or dragon scale armor. Those particular authors would use the notes that were part of his guide, his resource, as part of the application process of creating said magical item. And I guess the good guys wanted to perhaps credit him for the work done in the preparation of creating. I mean, there's a vast amount of magical items that are rendered from different beasts of varying kinds, and maybe the story could be woven in that direction. It was just simply a footnote, a reference to the original guide that he had put forth and how they got to the point where they were making these types of magical items.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely part of it, is that, yeah, more people, I think the main reason why a lot of people remember this book that is 1200 odd years old is the fact that there are scores, if not hundreds, of other sources that refer back to it for where they got the information that they built on. So, there may be, do I have a title right now? No, I don't. But there are several books on how to make cloaks of displacement, or, magical items that keep you hidden. And they rely on the information from the Fanged Tome and from Legacies Defanged, though they don't always separate out those two. They just refer to Lykanthus Szar and his works. And so they say, yes, this is how you can make a cloak of displacement. This is how you make boots of the north, and so forth. And they rely on the information from these other books they're mundane, but they're still crucial in the fact that it's the stuff you need at the baseline to be able to weave magic into things. So, I think that's probably the biggest legacy that came of it, is the fact that he showed a lot more people. I mean, you can find every culture has its hunters and its people that work with the materials, and they know all this stuff. This was probably the first and seminal texts that came out of Mithranor, and was actually published. Given the fact that, we're still talking that every copy had to be handmade, unless somebody came up with magical means of reproduction for the books then, which it's certainly possible, but it's never been written down. And honestly, I'd say that's a bit of a cheat. I'd rather just say, I would say that the elves would, it's too low a use of magic.
Right.
Shall we say.
Printing press. Yeah.
Yeah, at least for Mithranor at the time,
Well, I can see them.
If you want to learn, you need to copy this by hand.
Right, but I could also see them. I could also see them creating a printing press for their own needs.
Yeah,
but not for
sure.
everybody's needs, but for them.
Yeah, and there's certainly ways of duplicating all that stuff without having to take a year and change to handwrite every page and copy the illustrations or whatever. I'm sure in a lot of ways, because of the very particular, the detailing in the illustrations, that might be the only bit of magic involved in all of Lykanthus Szar's books, is that his skill with charcoal and ink to get incredibly minute details down on parchment was unmatched. So it would be worth it for them to at least say, from an artistic standpoint, yes, we can improve on that on that image, other than to it would be like saying they have to think of the concept of photography,
right?
And unless you're going to suddenly have open up the book and it's going to conjure up an illusion of what it really looks like. And maybe you have, there might be a copy out there like that. So somebody's copy of the Fanged Tome, oh yes, it's every page you open, suddenly there's this floating image and illusion of this. Yeah, that's that guy's copy.
That's
not
known
what
devilry.
not what the author did, you know. Well, think of it from our perspective. There's what you think of when you think of the Holy Bible of Judeo-Christian bent. Do you think of some massive thing of the King James Version? Do you think of the Torah? Do you think of, I mean, there's so many, it's still technically in parts the same texts, but how you put it together, how you dress it up, what it focuses on, and how it's translated.
Right.
And things can shift and change in that translation.
If you use the Bible as an example, there was also how many chapters that were in the original Bible, like 400 or something like that, or more.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they picked it down to a couple of dozen, or I know nothing about the Bible, so I couldn't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it started off, there was so many different chapters, they couldn't get it all because the tome it'd be huge, the book
Yeah.
itself.
Yep.
So it's the same thing with any history in the Forgotten Realms, or even, as the different chapters or the different people recreate, Lykanthus, his book, the Fanged
Mm-hmm.
Tome, they may
Yeah.
say, "Oh, this is only for the North, or this is only for around
Yeah.
Chult." We don't need it. We don't need the other stuff. We need to be about Chult.
Yep. And so you end up having, oh, this is the Tome of Lykanthus Szar, but it's an edition that's only useful for folks that live around Daggerford.
Right.
Because,
Exactly.
that was the guy that needed it at that moment or whatever. And again, I regret using the Bible as an example, because a holy book is an entirely different matter than this is a book for hunters, or
Right.
at least for people that you want to keep people safe.
No, it's actually it's a great example because of how many different versions there are and how it's changed from one version to the next.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with. See, I led the question about that is: would you, as a ranger, if you studied this from the Fang Tome, would you need every single thing if you never came off the Sword Coast and you only traveled up and down the Sword Coast? Would you need everything about the dire wolves, or the wolves around the Great Glacier, or the polar bears? You would never go there, so you wouldn't care about those. You only want a book that you can carry, and it's only going to be about the Sword Coast animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was in some ways something that it was used from during the height of Mithranor, is when you had travelers heading to particular destinations, somebody would cobble together a quick, a smallish handheld copy saying, these are the places you need to worry about. These are the things you need to watch out for. If you run into them, this is what you need to do. And so there could be very highly specialized, personalized copies made for this. Okay, this caravan is going from, Mithranor, and it's actually heading overland, and it's trying to get to Nimor's Hold before it becomes Waterdeep.
Yeah, no. So Lykanthus Szar basically was the you could say the father of modern rangers. The study of how they studied in the way of how he basically wrote down what you do to these creatures when you catch them, or what you do to skin them, or how can I save this part? What's good off of a dire wolf if I kill it? What do I save? What do I not save? What food is good to eat?
Yeah.
Is it going to be every rabbit, or
One thing that he also did is he kind of set a baseline for how you put together a book, or at least how you talk about something's hunting grounds, how you track it, how you avoid it, if you have to fight it, here's what you do.
Right.
The people who would complain about this book are the fact that, well, he doesn't talk about, any aquatic creatures. Well, he never went whaling, suing.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if you're exactly another white whale,
he can't tell you how to fight whales. He can't even tell you really how to, if you're dealing with, say, a giant muskie in a river. That's that's not his bailiwick.
Muskies are myth. There's no such thing as a muskie.
You obviously haven't come from Wisconsin, yeah.
No, I'm just saying I was watching a thing earlier, and it was some reason they're talking about muskie. It says if you've been privileged to actually catch one, because they drive most fishermen crazy that are going specifically to catch them. So I don't know. That's the only thing I know about muskie. So they're huge.
I'm
They're
still in
huge.
shock of the idea of wait, privilege to catch one?
Well, they said they're hard. They're hard to catch. They're not the
Yeah.
easiest fish to catch. And that's what he meant
Well,
by
yeah, it's like saying, yeah, it's like trying to, trap a bobcat or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, or wrangle
No.
cats. There you go. So
Oh.
that was my earlier comment. So he didn't write anything about whaling or fishery fish because
Nope.
he never spent time on a boat. But if he did, if he took a cruise from the southern coast of the Sword Coast and went up to the Moonshays, he may have
Mhm.
written a book about whaling and a book about how to prepare dolphin. What do you do if you catch
Yeah.
red
Mhm.
snapper or whatever fish you would find
Yeah.
along the
So,
way?
but yeah, and the main thing is, like I said, the book ended up being famous enough partly because it came out of Myth Draenor and the time and just the comprehensiveness of it.
Right.
Other authors have kind of stolen that format and they've written more localized versions of their own. And sometimes, there is I've got it somewhere here. Yeah, people jokingly refer to it as the Finned Tome.
Finned tone.
And the there's about 4 or 5 different author names trying to attach to it, but it's a lot about the dangerous aquatic creatures in rivers and lakes
Right.
in Western Toro. So it doesn't really account for anything, much further south than the High Moor.
And
But it's
nothing beyond the edges of the Sea of Fallen Stars, probably.
yeah, it pretty much it doesn't even get close to it's more what we would now call the savage frontier and that
Right.
general area. It doesn't really go beyond that. So it's anything that you can find in those waterways and some of the larger lakes. And regardless of whether you when you look at those maps of the Forgotten Realms, remember 30 miles to the inch hides a lot of details. There are so many lakes and ponds and rivers and streams
Right.
that have never been mapped because we've never looked close enough at them. But there
Right.
are some books that follow Lykanthus Szar's the structure of his book to talk about some of the creatures or some of the regions that he never got anywhere near.
Right.
I'd say the lightest part that he's got in his book, even though he did consult with dwarves, there's not that much to do with mountainous regions. So you've got some talk about peritons, some talk about, if you have to fight mountain goats, and a small section on Behir, which, if I remember right, they're not quite dragons, but they're close enough, and they tend to be in mountainous regions. That's
Right.
in there, but there's not a whole lot else. So, the mountain regions, yeah, that's not really the specialty. And I don't know if it was because the dwarves didn't share that much with him. I don't know.
Maybe
But
not. Well, they're pretty secretive. So,
but I don't know how you're going to break this up, but shall we have a section on the secrets of Lykanthus Szar?
yes, the
The
secrets
real
are
secrets of
the
Lykanthus
real
Szar?
ones, not the stuff about what I had down here.
Not the fake ones.
Not the fake ones, not the
So,
lycanthropy and the
like I
cursed.
said, he arrives in Myth Draenor in 330 DR. He's there until what was his death? What did I say? 386.
386.
Okay. Well, 2 things happen in 386. So I'm building backwards. There's a certain guy named Aaron Meridrum, also Aaron the Half-Elven. Not the most popular guy in Myth Draenor, not even in his own family. But 386, his sponsor gets him to join, or he's trained by, and he enters the Harpers in Twilight. His sponsor was Lykanthus Szar.
Oh, really?
Huh? So, by extension, yes, Lykanthus Szar was one of the early Harpers in Twilight.
So was he like, wait, you're kind of, wait, what do you mean? I'm a little lost there.
Well, he was a Harper. He was in Mythdraenor. He was, he did more than just go hunting. He did more than just help guard things. He was a busy guy, and this is one of the reasons why Kelvin took such a broad brush and spread so many falsehoods about the Fanged Tome. It's a misdirection. It's got people looking for secrets in his 3 books that aren't there, but they keep seeing them and finding them because they're looking so hard for these secrets. But what they don't see are, in those incredibly detailed, hand-drawn sketches. Yes, that's a perfect image of a wolf's paw print, or how to track, and how how fast something's moving, blah, blah, blah. There are some early hidden codes of an old Harper and Twilight runes hiding in some of those illustrations. But if you don't know to look for them, you'll never see them.
Would every Harper know to look for them, or after, it's that stuff that's lost to time?
It's one of those things that, again, it's so specialized a topic. The sigils and markings that modern Harpers use might have built from these, but they're not the same, and they mean different things. And it's hard to say just from context, because all of those mean different things. I mean, the first time I read about Harpers leaving marks on things as a code for other Harpers, well, yeah, okay, that's the hobo signals from the 30s and 20s and the railroads. And who's to say that those symbols don't change over time, even if they're moderately the same markings? All it takes is one other, what might look like a stray mark in one place. Well, no, that means something else. So if you can get a hold of one of the, either it has duplications of the true illustrations rather than interpretations by others, which is the majority of them. So I would say there's probably no more than 12 to 15 copies of the Fanged Tome in the realms that would have the precise enough images to have all of the markings in them. But if you could get a hold of one of those copies, and you knew what to look for, you could decode centuries worth of Harper messages and Harpers in Twilight. There are books that have been indecipherable to any but the Harpers.
Right.
Even by magical means, because even if you do some sort of magical spell that supposedly translates it, well, it'll turn it to common or whatever language the caster wants, but it just decodes it into what are the code words. So it might still sound like gibberish.
How come there's
the rooster crows at midnight means nothing unless you know this.
The bird flies backwards at sunset.
Yeah. So yeah.
Why is there no mention of Lykanthus Szar in the history of the realms, the grand history?
because
Brian didn't know.
what?
Brian didn't know.
Well, that. B, one thing that always throws me is some of these people believed in keeping secrets. They swore an oath that yes, they're going to do X and Y and Z, but they will keep their secrets as they vowed.
Right.
He's one of those that really deeply believe that.
Well, because
on the other hand, Kelvin, because of how he was wired, Kelvin is not. He will keep secrets very well, but he's also going to be. Look at the left hand. Look at the left hand. Look at the. I'm keeping secrets with my right, but he's going to do the big distractions. Lykanthus Szar is more like the predators he wrote about. He had a very single-minded focus, and his book, maybe all three books, nobody's ever really put them all together, but that could be, if you found all three original manuscripts of his books, you might be able to decipher some of the Harper's biggest secrets that have never been dug up. The fact that they have 5 to 7 gods, depending on which time frame you're talking about, that might be enough to deter most folks from poking too deeply. But
that's true.
Yes, the fact that there have been secrets lying in plain sight, and because of all the stories Kelvin and others wove around it, nobody's twigged to the fact that this is actually, it could be the hidden code breaker for some of the biggest secrets across 800 years.
Until now, when everybody finds out.
Until now. But, like I said, the only way that you could really absolutely break the code is if you've got all three manuscripts of Lykanthus Szar's. I've said where the Fanged Tome's manuscripts are. I don't know where the other two original manuscripts are for his last two books.
Probably the Library of Carmanther, but it's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can't remember the... no, Uverin died long before... Yeah, so it wouldn't have been in that library either. Now, could this information be elsewhere? Sure, of course it could. That's not beyond the realm of possibility. But if someone were to get a hold of
all three
of them somehow,
not the copied tomes, the original manuscripts,
not the copies. No, you have to get his original hand drawn, because that's the only way you're going to have all of every single stray mark or what looks like, why is that odd dot there? Well, yeah, he knows, but he's
kind of like the Da Vinci Code when you look through the manuscript from the 500s and it was like little symbols and stuff along the edges and the watermarks and things like that.
I suddenly am keenly aware of a certain ranger that might be coming out of retirement.
Maybe Gatsmeyer might be coming out of retirement. Well, I mean, think about it. That's a heck of a hook. Where if for a campaign that the DM would basically, the Harpers are, they recruit a group of adventurers to help them find these lost manuscripts, and the last place we knew that they were was in Mythdraenor. And then buddy, going to Mythdraenor is not fun, especially now.
That's an understatement. You could ask for 700 years.
You could ask Curry. I put a group of them through Mythdraenor.
I should have written down, because I know it was the Nightstar clan that I'd said had the
Nightstar. Yeah,
yeah. I sure hope the Nightstar's particular holdings aren't directly underneath where that shadow of our city landed.
That's true.
Because wouldn't that just be a sad thing?
Wouldn't that be sad? It's down there.
Yeah, it's under several million tons of rock. Good
Metric
luck.
tons of rock. Oh yeah, you know that 2 mile high mountain that was floating upside down. Yeah, that one that pierced the earth.
Yep. So,
Oh my god. Well, no, that would be a great hook of we're trying to rebuild the Harpers into what they once were, and we don't have the original edicts that came up when they first started.
well, and it's not like the Harpers have some great books out there that nobody can read, but it holds all the secrets. It's like, no. But if somebody found some Harper's personal diary that is written in their particular code, well, this might be a way that you could try and translate some of it.
Well, that's what it could
not
be.
all
They
of it.
found an ancient Harper text that had these codes they can't break,
Yep.
and it mentions Lykanthus Szar and his manuscripts, and the date on there is like 390, 4 years after he died or something, and so they have to go trace back where these manuscripts are.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and the thing is, whoever gets them can destroy the Harpers or make them better.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I may have, by saying this, I may have set something truly ugly in motion. I don't know.
No,
But
I think
hey,
it's excellent.
how can it be much worse than waking up every Manchun clone all at once? I mean,
All 28 of them. How many are left? There was 28 or something like that.
there will always be as many Manchun clones as you need, and one extra to be a bother.
That's true. That's true.
I know. What was it I said? Yeah, there's always as many as you need, but more than you want.
More than you want. That's right.
So
what do you think about that, Curry?
That's got my juices flowing. That sounds like it could be like a huge life quest for any ranger that would want to finish out the grand task of just being a ranger. How to come about reuniting that kind of information. Very, very selfish thoughts happening right here. So,
Well, think about it. Let's say they found an ancient, one of the first Harper strongholds that they put together to start one of their base camps. We'll call it that. And it's full of these things, but they can't translate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like finding the lost library of Alexandretta, and realizing that the texts they're all written in is long dead language.
right.
yep.
But there's maps to show where you can find.
Well, and it could be. Remember, I mean, for all that I've been saying for the last hour and a half, that Kelvin's a huge liar and he's been spreading falsehoods about all sorts of stuff. He only does that to misdirect, and there still might be grains of truth in it, but it could be things like if you dig up those manuscripts and you find, there's this one particular symbol of a circle with a straight line through it and a half moon, but only on the eastern side of it. That shows up in 15 different places.
Mm.
Right.
But you can also find that carved into, fist-sized stones all over Faerun.
Right. What does it mean?
Well,
That's what I'm saying. I mean, think about
here's a possibility. If you have, let's say you have 9 of these rocks with that symbol carved on them. Let's say you take those rocks and you arrange them in a circle. Even if these rocks came from all over the north and the Kalim Desert and wherever, doesn't matter where they came from. You put them all in a circle and have them touching each other, who's to say that might not be a way for a Harper to have a secret escape portal?
Yeah, I was just thinking portal.
And it would you jump into the circle and you blip to the nearest Harold's Holdfast or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, some little place that you can stay alive, stay safe. And the minute one person jumps through, at least half those rocks will scatter magically.
Right. Or scatter back to where they were found.
Or somewhere else. You never know.
Right.
I mean,
so what does Ranger Scat look like? Or Harper Scat?
It depends on what they ate, really, doesn't it? Yes, if they had tacos in Baldur's Gate, you don't want to know.
No. So I like the idea that this has hidden magic for the Harpers that has been lost to time.
And there's more Harper magic. This is a group that trades in secrets. It fights the corrupt. It has the backing of 5 to 7 gods. Not their churches, but the gods themselves.
Right.
So there's obviously going to be some more secrets than have ever been put down on paper.
Right.
And, the idea of you take a bunch of rocks with that mark on them, that may let you do that. It could be that if you have another particular thing that has a crude harp on it, well, let's take Curry's Bard. If you happen to stand on a flat rock that has that mark on it, you're going to have an unexpected +10 to your ability. You're going to be suddenly playing far above your league.
Right.
A bard or whatever, and that could save you. It could damn you. Who knows? I just like the idea that in even the most mundane things, you can hide secrets that mean more things to more people. But that's another reason why, again, Kelvin will lie to people's faces.
So did he lie to protect these secrets or just to distract people?
Yes.
Both.
Both. Yeah.
I think the underlying theme is anonymity.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No one gets the pat on the back, but also no one is accountable either, and kind of steers the direction of the fates, if you will.
And remember, Kelvin was not necessarily in charge of the Harpers, but certainly one of the upper echelons. He doesn't want those secrets to get out to those who are undeserving and lazy.
Right.
He will be more than respectful to someone who's done the work and dug up the information and found the secrets, because the only thing that gets disrespect from Kelvin and lying straight to your face is someone who's going for the shortcuts and who's not going to do the work and who's not going to do the thinking. So just as there are beneficial secrets that might be dug up if you could find all those manuscripts, there are probably some traps also in there that you can use to trap the unwary. Something that's more obviously noticeable.
Okay.
Whether you think it's this is Lykanthus Szar's personal
symbol. We lost you there, Stephen. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm here.
No, I lost
Stephen,
you.
you're there.
On. Not you guys. Sorry.
It's Jeff.
Okay.
It's my. Hold on. Since I'm the one with all the noise here. Hold on. It's not.
I'm going to have to wrap up pretty soon, I'm afraid. But
well, Stephen, do you have an opportunity to do another one sometime soon?
There?
Sure, I'd love to.
Okay, great.
I think I've played out Lykanthus Szar enough, but I'll probably do a write-up and throw it on a website or something. We'll see. Or save it up and do it for DM's Guild. Who knows?
If you've got anything more in the background as far as the Harpers or Rangers are concerned, that's huge love of mine. So I would absolutely love to be a part of that conversation.
Okay. I think that could be fun. I think I may have to go back and beg forgiveness from Ed in case I may have stepped in it by saying some of this, but but I'll get permission.
We'll
for the
make
next
sure
time.
he gets every bit of an opportunity to go through this before we publish. So you're good.
And it's if Ed comes on in one of these and says, "Oh, Steven's just as much a liar as Kelvin can be," that's fair.
I don't know. Ed's pretty magnanimous with you, Steven. He kind of lets you go with whatever you want, and I think that's great.
Oh, and I have to admit, I have a bunch of other notes, and I totally forgot to talk about something from remember these?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Remember the adventure in here in the halls of the beast tamers?
No, I don't.
Oh well, it was
a long time.
It was a dungeon in Myth Draenor that ties to the Guild of Naturalists, which was a group of rangers.
Okay.
Guess who was a member? The guy we've been talking about for over an hour.
All right.
So,
All right.
Yeah, it's there's many layers, but yeah, I'd love to come back and talk about. Well, we can talk about Harpers, we can talk about Rangers, we can talk about books. I've got lots of information about books.
I like the idea of the anonymity, the idea that we do good because it's the right thing to do, not because we're looking for the pat on the back and we need people to know our names. That it's very virtuous, honorable. Something that I admire a lot. So just listening to that part of it and how you were constant, he didn't care. No, he didn't want it. He wasn't concerned. He was unattached to all that. And how the idea that Kelvin was constantly creating this mystique attached to it that was completely, bullshit. That keeps the limelight off of certain individuals in that way. Is genius. I think that's a great way to tell that hook and that whole idea of deflection and distraction works pretty well.
So we just lost all that, guys. I had no sound coming through.
It's okay. Steven was going to bail anyway, and I was setting him up for the next show. We've got plenty more of the same stuff, or at least another branch of it to go down.
Perfect. Then that's perfect because we need more books.
We've just set up the next part of the conversation to happen as soon as you guys are available, and hopefully Ed can dive into it with us as well. And I told Steven that we'll make sure that Ed reviews all of this. He's so worried that Ed's going to get on his case about some of the shit that he revealed tonight.
No, he won't. No, he won't. No. Are you kidding?
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Remember, it's a shared world. You do what you want. You're the one that created this part. But I'd like to get more of those books that were talked about in the D&D movie as well.
Yeah, I have to watch that again. I've only seen it twice, and so I can't remember all the books that they rattled off.
Well,
then maybe we can go make a list and reference the parts that Jeff's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I can do
that. All right. Well, we'll talk more next time then, gents.
Okay, guys.
Gentlemen, I got fish tacos waiting on me. I'm going to go.
Oh, go, buddy.
Okay.
Hey, Steven, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll continue this conversation hopefully soon. Okay.
Okay. All right. Take care.
See you guys.
See you guys. Bye bye.
La 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 la.